For millennia, its monuments stood tall against the sands of time. The world's greatest collection of pyramids dwarfed even those of ancient Egypt. But ruins don't lie. Here is the story of the civilization that wasn't allowed to exist. Welcome to my channel. Their kings ruled over more land than the Roman Empire at its peak. And yet you probably never learned about them in school. For centuries, the Nubian people lived under the shadow of Egypt, constantly being overshadowed by the power of the pharaohs. The Assyrians from the north and the Persians from the east both wanted a piece of this golden empire. Between 350 BC and 300 AD, Rome waged war across North Africa, conquering everything in sight. The Roman Emperor Constantius II built a triumphal arch in Rome made from gold and ivory looted from the Nubians. He paraded around in it to celebrate his victory over the kingdom of Kush. You can see it today in the courtyard of the Capitoline Museums. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to rewrite the records they tried to seal forever. And thank you for coming on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out the playlist for more adventures. See you next time. The golden treasure of the Nubians was shipped off to Rome. Gold that once adorned the temples of Ammonius was now decorating the arches of the Roman Forum. Egypt became a province of Rome, and soon the Nubians found themselves caught in the middle of a power struggle. With the threat of the Roman Empire gone, the Nubians rose up again. Today, the Nubians number around 2 million spread throughout Sudan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Some live as nomads while others have settled down into towns and cities. Many of them still speak the ancient language of their ancestors. And the older generation remember a time when they had their own country. But the Nubian people almost vanished completely. In the 19th century, European cartographers took a critical look at their maps. With the discovery of ancient ruins and archaeological finds, they realized that their maps were missing a piece of history. They added the name Kush to fill the void. However, they did this to erase the Nubians from existence. Their entire civilization was lumped into a region labeled Lesser Egypt. But the truth is the Nubians had their own kingdoms, capitals, rulers, art, and culture. They were a distinct people with a rich history. But this is the world we live in. The Nubians may have carved pyramids, built temples, and left behind treasures. But the written word is a powerful tool. And if they're not mentioned in history books or on maps, then who will remember their story? Over the next 4 centuries, they re-established their kingdom, rebuilt their cities, and reclaimed their culture. They flourished like never before. But their time in the sun wouldn't last. The arrival of the Muslim armies sent shockwaves through the region. By 570 AD, much of North Africa had converted to Islam. The Nubians resisted, though, holding out until 641 AD when they too had to surrender. Yet despite being outnumbered, they managed to negotiate a deal. The Muslim leader, Amr ibn al-As, agreed not to enslave the Nubians if they converted to Islam. But they kept their traditions alive. Rome demanded tribute from the Nubians, but when they refused, the Romans invaded. Rome won, and the Nubians were forced to pay for it with their freedom. They were made slaves to work in the mines, fields, and homes of the conquerors. But the Nubians were no strangers to hard work. Their endurance of the harsh environment of the Sahara and their experience in ironworking had built a resilient people. It didn't take long for them to make significant contributions to the Roman Empire. They transformed the mining industry with their techniques and provided the Roman army with weapons and armor that helped them conquer the known world. The combined forces of these two empires crushed the Nubians. And although they managed to hold on to some of their territory, the rest of their history would be spent living under the control of foreign powers. Despite this setback, the Nubians weren't done just yet. They bounced back with the rise of their new capital city, Meroe, located further south in what is present-day Sudan. During the next few centuries, the kingdom of Kush became a powerhouse of trade. The strategic location of Meroe along the Nile gave them complete control over the flow of goods throughout the region. The invention of ironworking enabled them to expand their wealth. As the middleman between the Mediterranean and sub-Saharan Africa, they thrived from selling luxury goods such as ivory, gold, and exotic animals to the Mediterranean world. The Queen of Sheba, who appears in the Bible and the Quran, is believed by historians to be from the kingdom of Kush. Legend says she traveled to Jerusalem to test King Solomon's wisdom with riddles. And although Solomon won, he couldn't resist her beauty and ended up marrying her. Together they had a son named Menelik, who would go on to become the first king of the Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia. But the tides turned during the reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten when he shifted the empire's religion from worshipping multiple gods to just one. This led to decades of chaos. In this period of decline, the Nubians saw their chance. Around 2490 BC, they established the kingdom of Kush and soon began expanding south. But it was during the 25th dynasty of Egypt, from around 700 BC, that the Nubians really came into their own. Pi conquered Egypt and united the two lands as one. His grandson, Taharqa, expanded the borders as far as the Euphrates River. Now his empire stretched from the Mediterranean Sea all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. It truly was the largest African empire ever. They said it was a lie. The year is 2500 BC. The place is the Nile River Valley in present-day Sudan. It's here where the mighty civilization of the Nubians would emerge, flourishing for over 3,000 years until their mysterious disappearance in the 8th century AD. Don't let the term Nubian fool you. This was an empire on par with Egypt and arguably the greatest African civilization of all time. Yet when I asked my social studies teacher about it, he gave me a blank stare. Why? Because what I was telling him is officially classified as a lie. The Egyptians, Nubians, Kush Empire, Kingdom of Aksum, they're all part of a lesser Egypt. If you were taught this, then chances are your textbook had this map. But look closely. It doesn't even acknowledge the Nubians' existence. So I took matters into my own hands. After scouring used bookstores for weeks, I finally found a real textbook from the 60s without any of that sanitized information. It was crazy. These books labeled the region as Kush, situated between the Egyptian kingdoms of the north and the south. So why do we have this blank spot on our maps today? Let's rewind back to the year 2000 BC. However, 200 years later, everything changed. But alas, Rome would soon snuff out this flourishing civilization. In the year 343 AD, but it's here where things get interesting because after the fall of Rome, something incredible happened. Now there's a secret you won't learn anywhere else. Here we come to the end of another episode.